Dithering for artists like us is a very important technique to complement and amplify a retro aesthetic. So what is dithering? Dithering is a pattern between two colors that creates the illusion of a third color. This technique was necessary back in the day because of the color limitations. So there are basically two ways to use dithering in 3D, in rendering and post-processing, like this, or on textures themselves. In this video I'm going to explain you how to use dithering on textures in a fast, easy and free way. Yes, there are many ways, and also you can do it in Photoshop and so on, but those workflows, those ways are not free, easy or fast, so I'm not including those. Also, a big thank you for my first 2 Patreons ever. Davey and Elijah, thank you for being the first of your kind and really doing this next step and really supporting me on this whole thing, whatever I'm doing here. And yeah, I really appreciate your support. Now let's continue to the video. Let's start. Yeah, before we can dive into the dithering process itself, we need actually something to dither. For that, I'm going to make a skull. And along the way, I will show you exactly on what parts you have to be very careful to get a successful dithering effect out of your 3D model. A very important part will be the UV unwrapping of the whole situation and the pixel flow. The 3D modeling itself isn't that difficult, and I expect a lot of you guys to already be familiar with the workflow of actually modeling something, and the UV unwrapping will be very important for this tutorial. So let's make a skull. At first, let's make a new collection. Delete the cube and let's set up our reference. Oh, wait a second. Shortcuts. So now you can see what I'm pressing. Shift A, empty and image. Now let's rotate it by 90 degrees. And yeah, and I think we have to scale it a bit up. Something like this. 2, 2, 2. And now let's set up our texture. Our reference. Click on the reference, or you know what? Let's call it ref1. And click on Object Data Properties, Image, and Open. And I'm using here my skeleton reference, made by me actually. And this is a high-res. Transparent reference sheet of a skeleton. And you see, I made the backbone and everything separate and transparent. So I think it's the best reference sheet, texture reference sheet of a skeleton you can currently get. And this reference sheet is available on my website on starcrafts.com. Currently it's still in the development phase, so there is a lot of stuff coming, sadly, because I have to work full-time. It takes a lot of time to set up everything. There will be courses, online classes, but currently they are in development, and assets and more, and contact and everything. It's very basic. So here on assets and more, you can click on load, or here on the marketplace, and yeah, everything on the website, the marketplace will be free, and I don't think I will ever change that. Maybe if I have to invest a few thousand hours in something, I will charge you maybe $50 or something. So yeah, we have here the skeleton texture reference sheet. Just click on it and you can download it for free. Yeah, it says buy now, but it costs 000. It has a resolution of 2000 times 2000 pixels, is a PNG with a transparent background. And yeah, it's a perfect reference sheet for texturing and for scaling and everything. And I made a high-res skeleton and sliced it up and made this reference sheet. So here you go. So now we are back here with our reference sheet. And now we have to set up the reference. We're only using the head part of the reference. So let's scale it up a bit. Currently we can already work with the scale. It's currently 2 times 2 times 2, so that means the actual skull is in the right proportion. So let's check in on that with the measurement tool. Yeah, and 0.28 is a realistic scale for a head, but yeah, we can adjust this later on anyways, so let's scale it up a bit. It doesn't matter right now. So switch to the front, align the middle line, the C line, pull it down. I like to get it to the point of the nose. Oh, this is a bit. You can also adjust it here. The x-axis is here, so something like this. Nice. So this is a line. Now Alt D, left click, and on the Z axis rotate it by 90 degrees. And now let's set up our side view. Just pull it back a bit. I think here on the cheekbone is a perfect situation. So now drag the side view to the side, the front view to the back. And I think that's currently enough to make our skull. So now let's get Shift A, mesh, round cube, and radius 1, and arc I would go with 3. So left click. Okay. To actually get a round cube, you have to activate the plugin. This is on Edit, Preferences, and it's called Extra Objects. Add Mesh Extra Objects. Just toggle the square here to enable the add-on, and you will have the here round cube and a few more. It's a very helpful base object for 3D modeling. So now let's, you know what, let's drag the references in the collection, hide the light and everything. So here, you know what, let's call it DITHER skull. Give it a quick save. Nice. Edit mode, cut loop, cut a loop in the middle, face selection, drag across. Oh, we have to toggle the X-ray, drag across one side, delete faces. Now we have half of it, and add modifier, mirror, and clipping on. Nice. Object. Let's scale it down to a base size, something like this. This is a good setup to start, as you can see. Okay. Nice. So now in the edit mode, we are now adjusting the front view, then the side view, and we are only trying to work with what we already got. So our, wait, let's activate the statistics. Currently we are on 66 triangles. So we don't want to add anything currently, maybe later. So let's start with the front view, or with the side view, however you like. So let's drag this across. Oh, you know what? Yeah. So let's start with this half here. Let's drag this here. Yeah, that's basically modeling. Now try your best to model the skull. And here I'm aligning this line to the skull. And I already see we have a lot of geometry points we won't need. Let's keep it simple. Maybe let's use this as cheekbone. It's already very solid from the overall look. And yeah, I want to bring the cheekbone bones out. So to get this iconic skeleton look, we can drag that on front. Okay. let's change something on the front view. And here we can see the point of the cheekbone. So this will be a very necessary vertex. Okay. This needs to be a bit more rounded. And here with this point, we can try to catch the shape of the nose a bit more. Something like this. Mm-hmm. And now let's check a few of the side perspectives. Okay. I think we are very far. Tab to change to object mode. And it doesn't look that skull-like. I think we have to amplify more the nose shape and the cheekbones. It's very important to get the right view, the right silhouette of the nose. Let's drag this back and a bit down. I think this is on the right spot. Yeah, this looks a little bit more like an actual skull. And also the chin line is a bit weird. A bit more pointy maybe. Okay. So, okay, I see exactly what we need to do here. Okay, we have here this area, and I think we are not. Okay. Yeah, let's give it a try. We are now deleting those unnecessary faces face, switched here to face selection, selected, drag selected those faces, face delete, and yeah, this still makes sense as a form or a shape. I think maybe we can get rid of those here, but we will see. So let's amplify this back shape here a bit more. Okay, go back. And yeah, we can totally merge those two together. Hit M, merge last. And I'm not sure if we should keep that. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary for the overall shape. But I think it's important to check in on such things without the reference, because overall it needs to make sense to us how it looks like. Okay. And now we saved on 7 triangles by deleting those unnecessary parts. And yeah, I'm dragging this a bit down. And now we can add something more, because I'm trying to stay in a low poly area. Now we can add here a very important edge loop here. And now we are back on 67. So we started with 66, so we only added 1 triangle. So perfect. Nice. Now we can amplify more the skull shape, the skull-like shape. Now adjust that, pull it to the right areas, and now we can amplify the cheekbones, the most important part of the skeleton for the skeleton silhouette. This makes a huge difference. Huge. As you can see, the amplification of the brow area here and the shape of the nose forms the overall shape of the skull. So this is the most important part to get this iconic skeleton-like shape. And like I said, we don't have to stay with the reference sheet. I think here it's a bit more complementing if we are going a bit more in to amplify the cheekbones more here. Also, I want to drag this down here, this a bit out. So now it's even more skull-like. I'm not quite sure if it's better if we keep it up here. Maybe like this. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So now we amplified the overall shape. Nice. This is a cool low poly skull. Very nice ground shape for a low poly skull. Good. So, good. Basically, we don't need the reference anymore. Like I said, we changed a few parts that wasn't in the reference. I also think the head, at first I thought the head is maybe a bit too wide, but as I'm looking at it from different angles, I think I'm very happy with the result. Also, you see, this line was very necessary to get this skull-like shape. So, nice. And I think the middle line here on the back, we can use it a bit more to get a more organic, or here. Let's keep the top part of yeah, this one. Just drag it a bit in. To get a more organic shape. And also here, the middle line. Nice. Okay, yeah. This is a nice skull. Just a base shape with 67 triangles. Nice. So that is done. Now let's continue to the UV unwrapping. A very important step to get the right amount of dithering and clean dithering and so on. So the pixel flow is very important. Let's save it. Okay, now let's UV unwrap the whole thing and set up the texture. So for that, let's hide the references for now. Let's go to UV editing. So now we are in UV editing, as you can see here. And now let's set up a material for our skull. Drag this a bit down. Click on the material properties and hit new. And let's call it skull. Nice. To actually, so we can actually see our material, we need to switch to material preview mode here. And let's hit the yellow dot, image texture, and new. Let's call it skull texture. Why not? And I like to keep it in a huge scale, like here 1024 times 1024, because I'm scaling it down afterwards. And often I don't know if I wanna on how small I wanna reduce the resolution. So I like to have one high res version, 1K version of the texture as a base. And also very important for you guys, if you make a 1K texture, for example, and you scale it down to a 256 texture, for example, a lot of details will be still available in the texture. So if you're working from the start with a small texture, it's possible that there is a lot of information that is going to be lost. So let's hit OK. And here in the drop-down browser, we have here the skull texture. Nice. Just a black square for now. But let's save it first. Image, save as skull texture, and let's save it inside my texture folder. Save. Nice. So, okay, is there anything else? I mean, we can, now we have our texture, and this texture is now in my texture folder. I would recommend you to make a folder for every project and name it correctly and have a texture folder inside the project folder. When you keep everything tied together and organized, you will never have a problem in the future if you search something. So, good. Okay, and now let's continue. Now we're getting to the very important point, to the UV unwrapping. And to UV unwrap it correctly, I like to use my pixel grid. A download link is below this video for the pixel grid. Let's open image, and I have it here already in my texture folder. Open. And you see it's very distorted. So let's switch here in the browser image to the pixel grid. Here's the pixel grid, you see. It doesn't matter how far I scroll in, I will always see pixels, or as far as I scroll out. So, pixel grid, very important for this workflow to get nice dithering and the pixel flow, a very correct, beautiful pixel flow. So, now let's go to the important point. I'm in the edit mode and I'm switching here to the face selection. Now let's hit A. Oh, also important, switch to the closest. So to select everything, hit A, right click and UV unwrap faces. And very important, hit cube projection. I noticed this is the best option to unwrap something for an even pixel flow. But yeah, it depends on your object, but you have to adjust maybe a few things. But for now, let's just spread the pieces out. Let's drag select everything, hit S, scroll it a bit down. And now let's switch you to island selection. And I'm activating here the snapping tool, so it snaps to the grid. And now I'm simply spreading it out. I really like to work with the cube projection because it's the fastest way to get serious good results. Okay, what do we have here? And keep in mind, it's very important to have some distance between your UV parts. Okay, good. So now let's look for some distortions, because the distortions in the textures in the pixel grid will translate onto the dithering. So very important. Let's check in on that. Okay, we got here some distortion, but if we are looking at it from the top, it's not that bad. So we have to make decisions, because this will affect our the dithering actually. Okay, we have here from the top view very heavy distortion down here, but if we are looking at it from the front, there is no distortion, so I will keep that. Here from the side, slightly distorted. I can live with that. But to be honest, this is a very weird area here. It's distorted from the front, it's distorted from the down view, so let's change that. Also, I don't like the chin area. We also have to change that to drag it a bit more inwards. As far as I can tell, here is also a weird area. Okay, good. Now let's make the adjustments. I'm selecting those two, move, and I'll switch to the oh, the snapping is still on. Okay, that's way better. Let's keep it like that. And also we have here this weird situation. For that, let's pick the knife and let's make a cut here and connect it to the other one and cut with enter. Now drag across here and check if the vertices are 1. 1, okay. Because if not, that means the distortion didn't work. So maybe we can make another cut here to clearly separate those parts. The number of triangles won't change because we work with quads. So let's also check in if we have here. No, it's 1 vertex, 1 vertex. Nice. Okay. Okay. And also here, we have here this weird area. Let's make a clean cut. And enter. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay, good. I mean, we could also make here a cut, but I think that's not that important. Okay, good. Let's check in on the triangles. Here, it's still 67. Perfect. I would say, let's just UV unwrap it again. Okay, we are in the velocity selection, phase selection, hit A, right click UV unwrap, cube projection. And now our distortion is gone because we clearly separated those parts. So hit A, select everything, S, scale it down. The cube projection is very helpful. Island selection, let's spread it out and keep distance. Between the parts. Nice. So now let's give it a second look from every angle. So you see here from the side we have slightly a distortion, but from the bottom there we can see nothing. That's perfect. So from the front we got some distortion here on the top, but with the moment we are looking from top to top down, we have no distortion. So I can live with that front distortion. It's because I will look from the skull, maybe from this angle and this angle. Maybe this can be kind of weird situation later on, but no, I think I can live with that. Yeah, you have to make a lot of decisions, so I can live with that. This will also not be a problem, and this also, I think it's better to have a clear top view, and here from the side it's looking nice. Okay, good. So now I like to use one quad of the texture for just the face. If I'm doing so the front part here should be a quad, and I spread the other parts around it. Let's do that. That's around a quad. And now let's spread the other ones around it with some distance, like this, and this one. I think we can bring it down here. And I'm trying here to align it a bit. And also let's throw this one here. And maybe increase the distance a bit. Hit A. Yeah, and I think yeah, we're here in the good area with this spread. I think very important is always the middle line. Let's see if we get the middle line. Like that. Nice. Here on the top. We can also move it here. Oh shit, no, it was was the whole thing. So now we have here the middle line. Perfect. So here on the back, where's the back? Here is the back. Okay. So we have to expect. So we spread that out. We have to expect some distortion and maybe some pixelation artifacts here on those parts, where you can clearly see that the textures are not clear align. But if you're looking at it from a certain angle, it totally fits. But I mean, you could do small adjustments here by hitting the vertex selection and try to align the grid. So drag that point. Something like that. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. It's good enough for me. So, okay. Like I said, we can expect artifacts and some kind of distortion here from certain angles, but from the main angle, so from the side, from the front, and from the top, we can expect that pixel float, that amount of pixelation. So let's check in if the distances are enough. I would say 2 squares is enough of distance between those parts. Okay, good. So let's give it a save. Now everything is ready for texturing, and after that we are going to dither the whole thing. Okay, let's switch the texture to our main texture, the skull texture here. Nice. Let's also switch it here. So you can see it's spread it out. Switch to texture paint. And let's switch here to material preview. And also, you know what, let's change the material a bit. We have here, let's go to the shading tab and hit add and emission, because when we switch here the emission with the principal BSDF, we get an unlit texture. So let's delete that. So we don't have to worry about shading or anything. Okay. And now actually we can start texturing the whole thing. So for that, texture properties. Make sure to have selected the draw tool, new, and we already have our reference here. We will use it for drawing. Let's go here to active tool workspace, texture, stencil. Now we can draw with our reference image. And because it's a high-res 2K transparent one, we can use it, and don't worry about this pixelation. We can scale it up very big and draw over it. I think I'm going to use here 0.8, and also I will toggle the reference on the back and will align it a bit like that. Nice. So now I think also the wireframe will be helpful. So don't scroll in, because if you scroll in, you will mess up the setup we just made. So, and now let's make a base for our texture. Well, already very good. But let's draw it a bit to the side. And maybe scale it down a bit. I think it's important to catch the middle part of the teeth. And to get the nose right. Okay. The nose needs a bit of fixing. And I think let's scale this down to 20. So we don't draw into the texture. Something like this. I think. Yeah, that works. Nice. Now let's go back. So watch it from a different angle. Okay, now I like it a bit more. Okay, let's give it our first save. Just hit save and we just saved our texture. Let's attack it from the side view. Let's make it a bit bigger than it actually is. Let's just draw over it. Okay. Now I want to keep those black parts here. Let's activate this side view. And let's try to only hit the black parts. So we don't mess up the paint job we already did. How's that? Okay, I think the teeth are a bit messed up. Let's go back. that's way better. Why not? Set the back view here. I think also the top. For the top we can just use this here. Nice. Now we can do some fixes. With maybe with 200. Okay, I think that's good enough. And yeah, here's the only part left on the bottom. And let's use this part. Increase it again. Okay, nice. This is a good setup. So let's hit save. And now let's go. X the brush away. Let's go here on the top again and set this back to tiled. And let's fix some areas. Like here with the smooth tool. Just smooth over the edge. Also here, let's move here a few areas. We've here these straight lines. Yeah, and now let's just fix it overall a bit. Nice. Okay, let's give it a save. And I think we can now enable the wireframe. This looks very nice. But we wanna you see here we can make some fixes to soften up those edges. And then we will amplify a few areas like here and the eyes. Also fix this part here. We want to have a nice transition. No hard edges because we're gonna pixelate it anyways. But that will show off. Well, that's a very nice high quality skull. A nice high quality low poly skull. So let's give it a save. Save, and also save the project for now. Now, let's amplify some areas, like here the eye sockets and here below the cheekbones, and maybe also the nose. Let's go here to, you know what, let's go to a dark gray draw tool, by the way, and decrease the strength to, I don't know, let's try 100. Here let's hit 20 and you see that makes a big difference, but I think it's better if we are using here the default color of the skull, and we're just trying to make it darker. This will blend in a bit more. Now let's just redraw with this opacity level the eye sockets. You see, it already makes a huge difference. So here the nose part. And then blend everything together with the soften tool. Already looks way better. So let's give it a save. Let's continue. And on this way, we are trying to get back a few features, amplify areas, and overall make the details a bit more pop. And basically you're just tracing the dark areas. Okay. Okay, let's attack this area here. Make this a bit stronger. I think slightly under 300 would be enough. Let's draw out here this area. Increase it even more. By the way, I'm using a mouse for this. Let's go from the outside to the inside, just like that. Maybe we can drag this here a bit more in. Makes a bit more sense, I think. Okay. Now let's make a very small brush. Still make it around 300, and how about 10? Let's go in here and let's redraw some areas, or even less than that, 100. Just redraw the shades. That makes a huge difference. Also here a few details. And here. This corner. Maybe here. No, that's too much. Yeah, let's keep it like that. Yeah, nice. This makes sense. Set again 20, just a bit lower. Let's shade here the gaps a bit. And it gets darker. Okay. Nice. Okay, good. Let's leave it like that. And you see, with amplifying dark areas and just basically darken up some areas and soften over it, you can pop out some areas, and this totally paid off. Okay, good. Let's give it a save and let's work with that. Nice, beautiful skull. And okay, save the project. And what I like to do is when I'm ending up with my final texture, I like to make a copy in a smaller scale. So I'm here in the texture folder, and now I'm hitting copy and insert, and I rename it skull texture, but 56 px pixel, right click and change size pixel 56. Save. I got a small version, and now I'm staying here inside, and now I'm changing it to the low-res version here, and now I'm fixing here those weird transitions with this moving tool. Crisscross. So I already have optimized high-res and low-res version of my texture. And I mean, you can basically do exactly the same thing in 128. Yeah, and I'm basically always have a 1K texture, 256 texture and 128 texture. And I'm always fixing those transitions straight after I'm done with the 1K texture. So I can later on change whatever I like. I can change between the pixel scales. Let's already give it a save. And you see with the pixelation, a lot of our strokes vanished and it all faded into one pixelated texture. And now it's totally paid off that we amplified those darker areas, as you can see. And also this will again pay off with, for example, dithering the texture and so on. So we are done. Nice pixelation, a nice low poly skull. So let's save it one last time. Nice. Okay, good. Let's save the project. Now I have here optimized 1K texture and 256 texture. I could also make 128 texture, but let's just stay with this. Okay, time to dither some textures. Very important, I want to remind you, the pixel flow of your object you wanna dither the texture to is very important for the dithering process, because if you have distortions in the textures or the parts of the UVs are not lining up with the pixelation, you get artifacts in the dithering. I mean, it can work, but it's good to keep in mind that this is a very huge factor by working with dithering and pixelation. So I I have here a 1K texture and optimized 256 texture for my skull. Okay, and now I will show you a very unconventional way of dithering a texture with Windows Paint. So I recently started to replay Quake 1, and I got the remaster version for Christmas. And Quake 1 has very interesting dithering in the textures. It's a noisy dithering, and actually you can achieve exactly the same dithering with Windows Paint. Very simple. Click on your image, right click, edit. Sorry, I have it in German. Right click, and now File, Save As, and GIF. This process will reduce the colors and overall scale it down, and will force, by limiting the color palette, will force dithering onto your texture, onto your image. So let's save it as a GIF. Let's call it GIF dither, and yes. And now you can already see we got some dithering, a noisy dithering going on. Very cool. And as you can see, it's saved here. Actually, Blender cannot use GIF files as textures. So currently we have the GIF file open. Hit File again, Save As, and JPEG, for example. And let's just save it. And now we have here the JPEG version and here the GIF version. Let's delete that. Now we only have 256 by 256 GIF version with a noisy dithering going on. Very simple. And the thing is, the bigger the resolution, the smaller the noisy dithering. Yes, smaller the resolution, the bigger the dithering effect. And also you can repeat the process over and over again and get noisier and noisier with the dithering texture. Very simple. So let's go into Blender. So let's go here to the viewport. We have here my default texture with 256 times 256 resolution. As you can see, we have here pixelation going on, and check if you're in closest. And now let's open up our Windows Paint dithered texture. As you can see, we have a very beautiful, noisy dithering going on here. It totally reminds me of Quake 1 from the dithering. And yeah, it's drag and drop, pretty easy to dither that. What was it? 4 clicks? 3 clicks or so? That's a very pretty outcome. So here again the comparison, normal dithering, the normal texture, and our Windows Paint noise dithering. So basically what happened, the color palette reduced and forced the texture to dither. Now we have this noisy situation. Beautiful. I really like it. It's a very beautiful dithering. Like I said, with a lower resolution you get even more dithering, and actually, like I said, you can repeat this process. You can dither it again. Just save it again as a GIF and save it again as a JPEG, and you get more dithering. What's also possible inside Word itself, Windows itself, double click on the, oh, that's the already dithered one. Let's go here in this version. So, edit, edit, adjust, and on color, just crank it all the way up and crank this up and make it a bit darker to bring up the features. So we are slightly under that yellowish thing. Save as copy. Where's my texture folder? Here. And let's call it, I don't know, version skull texture blah 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 2. Yeah. Save. And I noticed, you see here, there's a huge difference in the situation. This makes the dithering a bit more pop. So you don't have to do this if you want this subtle noisy dithering. You're good to go with that. But if you want to have it a bit more pop, a bit more saturated, just adjust it like I just showed you. Now again, repeat the process, edit, save as, JPEG, GIF, yes, 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 and now JPEG, and save. Where's the, here's the GIF version, let's delete it. And here we have the dithered version, the undithered version, which is just a bit more saturated. Let's delete this one too. So here, let's use the new version, the saturated one. And here is it. Beautiful, just beautiful. Look at that noisy dithering. Such a simple thing and you get such an amazing result. For us, retro 3D artists, this can improve your workflow immense. So, this is a little thing you can do without a second software, without using any paid thing. It's totally fast and everything, and yeah, you will get an amazing result. And like I said, this is the saturated version, and this is the original one, and here is the subtle one. I don't know. I think the subtle one is very cool. This pops a bit more with the details and everything. So I think it's a personal preference thing. I don't know. I think this version is a bit more. This is more interesting. So let's go back. I don't need this version anymore. Yeah, let's just delete it, and I actually make a folder, texture, dither, texture. Just throw it in. Change it back to the original one. Okay, after my very unconventional Windows Paint dithering life hack, I don't know, I want to show you a website, in-browser application, which is called Dither Me This. This is how it looks like. And this thing is dedicated to dithering images. So perfect for our use. Yeah. So this is the second thing I want to show you. It's very simple. You just click here on Browse Files. You can here a pre-setup. You can choose a pre-setup, or you can adjust yourself one, and at the end you just click download and download your texture. So let's hit browse. And let's again use our 256 texture. And you see here, you have here the slider for a preview. And you have here those previous settings. Black and white dither, RGB, TMUC, 3-bit, Game Boy. This is a very cool one. Teletext. Oh, this is also very badass. Apple II. Nice. Commodore 64. ZX Spectrum. 6-bit RGB. Really like this one. I think it goes in a direction with the Windows Paint workflow. 2-bit grayscale vaporwave. Also very cool. And Hacker. In the second one, you can adjust the resolution. So I can scale this down or scale it up. I mean, you get the best result with the default one. If you change here to, it will use the default resolution. And yeah, for example, let's just go with this one. Ordered dithering, so it's ordered. You can hear the width and the height. For example, if I change this here to also 4 and hit dither, we get this thing. Looks pretty cool. Let's decrease the resolution to the original 256. Dither. And ooh, this dithering is totally on point. I really like that. Let's already download this one. Download. And so here you can arrow diffuse dithering. Dither. You get here a more noisy one. Ordered. Dither is what I showed you. For example, if I change here to 1, you get lines downward. Also looks very nice. And random dithering, black and white, for example, it's very noisy. With color, also very noisy. But if you wanted color reduction only, that can also look very badass. So, and now let me show you something. Let's go in here. Let's decrease this to the native pixelation. Hit dither. Nice. And I think I think I will use it with the 500. Why not? Download. Also, I want the Game Boy version, but in a higher resolution. Like this. I think it's a bit different to the hacker version. Download PNG, hacker version. Yeah, I also wanted in my resolution scale. Like this. Nice. Vaporwave. Pretty cool. Let's download that. And this is also very cool. This can also look very badass. So now, for example, let's I don't know, let's use the hacker version. So let's go here to color palette. Here you can, for example, change the colors or add a color. Or here it's extract color from the original version. So we can, for example, just leave the black. I think the black is very cool. But let's switch here to something more fitting. I'm in this blue range with my skull. Adjust. Now we get a blue version. Pretty nice. And if we hit extract colors, we get the original colors. Dither. You see? And I can what I saw, what totally worked was deleting all the very similar colors. For example, we have two blacks here. Delete one black, and here these colors are all the same. This is the same. And just reduce colors and you will end up with different results. So yeah, here's a lot to play around with. I really like what you can get out of this. And maybe did I again? It's black and white is very interesting. Yeah, this looks nice. Very awesome. Okay, let's download that too. Yeah, and basically with my Windows Paint workflow and with this website DITHER, you can get very fast with your dithering job. And now let's just apply those onto the skull. So now we have here my my textures I generated, and I tried to stay inside my inside the pixel range of my original one. And let's try the textures we just made, the Dither textures. I want to see the, yeah, I mean, it looked better before, but it can totally work. Depends on the context, I guess. The vaporwave one. Ooh, very nice. And now you can clearly see why it was important for us to amplify the darker areas and redraw them. Because now they are very intense popping. Oh, the hacker version. Oh, maybe in a bigger resolution it would have worked a bit better. This is the Game Boy version. Nice. That's pretty nice. Yeah, and as you can see, it's very important to amplify and darken up the whole thing a bit more. Also very nice dithering. Very nice. But maybe a bit too... No. It's perfect. I like it. Oh, here's the hacker version, but not in lines. Raster. Pretty awesome. And I want the hacker version, but with better lines. Let's do that very quickly. Hacker. And let's just reload the website. Browse. Take the default one. Hacker with the higher resolution. I don't like it. Yeah, it was this one. So let's try the new ones. Nice. This looks badass. Pretty badass. Oh, nice. I love it. Here's a lower Game Boy version. But I think I liked my previous one more. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, so basically, that's basically it. With the website, Dithers, and with Windows Paint, we got very far with dithering our textures for our skull. And yeah, play around, try to dither your textures, and like I said, maybe also before you dither your textures, increase the saturation and make them a bit darker, and so you get more dithering out of it, and maybe redraw some dark areas. You see it's totally paying off. So now you know how to dither something for free, fast, and very easy. And you also maybe underestimated Windows Paint. And yeah, if you got something out of this video, consider subscribing. And if you already subscribed, press a like and comment below. And if you want to support me to make more videos and more content like this, maybe think about becoming a Patreon. The Patreon link is also below the video. And yeah, love you guys. Happy New Year so far. And yeah, see you in the next one.